We're now looking at finding the scale factor between two similar figures. We want to determine whether these two polygons are similar. We're going to write a similarity statement, which means we're just going to write this figure is similar to that one, and we're also going to find the scale factor. In order to determine whether the polygons are similar, we have to do two things. First of all, we have to figure out whether corresponding angles are congruent. So in this case, we can tell by the markings that angle F is congruent to angle Z. Angle J is congruent to angle W. Angle X is congruent to, I'm sorry, I should do it the other way around. H is congruent to angle X. And finally, angle G is congruent to angle Y. So we've done that much just by the markings, we can tell that. Then we want to look at corresponding sides and see if the same ratio appears every single time. Let me take a look here. So I'm just going to start with ZW over FJ because those match up. ZW and FJ match up. That gives us 20 over 16, which reduces to 5 over 4. We've got WX over JH, and that gives us 15 over 12, which again reduces to 5 over 4. We've got YX over HG, which gives us 30 over 24. If we divide both of those by 6, we get 5 over 4. And then ZY over FG. That gives us 25 over 20. Dividing both of those by 5, we get 5 over 4. So because of all of this and because of all of this, we know that the figures are similar. We need to write a similarity statement. The similarity statement will be, we write F, G, H, J. So F, G, H, J. And that's going to be similar. We have to go in the same direction for the second one. So that would be Z, and then Y, and then X, and then W. But you could have written it any number of ways. For example, I could have said F, J, H, G, and Z, W, X, Y. That would have worked just as well. Now, if you notice, I started with ZW over FJ. So I started with the one on the right divided by the one on the left. I did that on purpose because it says the scale factor of this to this. So we start with this and we end with this. Remember, scale factor will be a ratio, so it's this to this. So it's the big one to the small one in this case. It's not always big to small, but this is the bigger one. So if you look, the ratios that I've written here are all 5 to 4. And I did start with the big one and went with the smaller one afterwards. So the scale factor in this case, I'm just going to write SF is 5 to 4. Okay? So again, we know all corresponding angles are congruent. We know that corresponding side lengths are proportional. So in other words, all those ratios are equal. Therefore, the two triangles are similar. And so, yes, the two triangles are similar. There's ZYXW and FGHJ, and the scale factor is 5 to 4. Here's another one. We have two triangles that are similar. Therefore, we know corresponding angles are congruent. Corresponding sides are proportional. One ratio I can write is, for example, ED over NM. If you look, ED and NM. So I can say ED over NM and that's equal to EF over NP. And there's two ways of solving this, really. So you can take these two sides and compare them to these two sides, or you could have taken 12 and 16 and compared them to the long sides here. So ED is 9, NM is 12, EF is X, and NP is 20. And then it's just a matter of cross-multiplying and solving. So we get 12X here. I'm going to leave the other side as 9 times 20 on purpose. It's just easier for me when I don't have a calculator. I'm going to divide both sides by 12. Those are going to cancel, and I'll get X here. I can divide 9 and 12 both by 3. So I get 4 here, and I get 3 here. I can divide 20 and 4 by 4. This gives me 1 here and 5 here. And 3 times 5 gives me 15. So X is equal to 15. Another way you could have done that, by the way, going back real quick, once I knew this was 9 to 12, I could have simplified this and made that 3 to 4, because those are both divisible by 3. And we could have said 3 to 4 equals X over 20, and that would have made it a little bit easier, because then we would have gotten 4X equals 60, and dividing both sides by 4, X equals 15. So either way would be a good way to solve it. And they may have done it slightly different, but we'll take a look. Okay, they did 12 over 9 and X over 20. So they did the reciprocals on both sides, but we get the same answer. Cross multiplying, we get 12X equals 180, and X equals 15. And here's another one. We want to know what the scale factor is of QRST to ABCD. So if we do that, we know that they're similar, so all we need to do is take any corresponding sides. I'm going to take AB and QR, and we're doing it as QRST first, then ABCD second. So we have to do QR over AB, because it's in this order, small to big. So QR is 6, AB is 12, so the scale factor is 1 to 2. They also want to know the value of X. Once you know the scale factor, you can use that in the problem. So if you want to, you can say 1 to 2 here, and then we see that BC matches up with RS, so our second one would be X over 4. Oops, I'm sorry. I've got that wrong. It would be 4 over X. It's because it's small to big. So we cross multiply, we get X equals 8. Okay? So it's small to big, so it's small to big again. And we get X equals 8. And we're done here. Thanks.